everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and today is the start of my first vlog for Vox Machina-thon Tusk Love. Yes, I say first vlog because I've learned my lesson from the past, and I'm not going to try and do everything in one vlog because I'm reading 7 books for Vox Machina-thon Tusk Love, and that is too many for one vlog. I do not think my editing software can handle the amount of footage that many books would produce. So we're splitting it not in half because 7 doesn't get split in half evenly. I'm not gonna start a vlog or start a book in this vlog and finish it in the other one. That's crazy. So we're gonna do 3 books in this first vlog and 4 books in the other one. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Vox Machina-thon is a readathon that I host whenever the people over at Critical Role release a new book. And this time around we are celebrating the release of Tusk Love, which is a book that exists in the world of the campaigns. It is in campaign 2, and now it exists as a book in the real world. I do not have my copy yet. I'm technically starting a day late on this because the event, Vox Machina-thon, is happening throughout the entire month of July. Today is July 2nd. I've just been super duper busy, so I did not have time to start on this yesterday. But I'm starting today, and I don't think there's any issue with that. One less day is not going to affect me much. But the first book that I will be reading, kicking all of this off with, is We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer, maybe? I've actually not heard anyone say that name out loud and not hesitate over it because they were unsure of the pronunciation, so I don't know how it's really pronounced, but that's what it looks like to me. This is a horror thriller following a queer couple who buy a house, and I don't know if it's like to live in or if they're just moving in to flip it and then they're gonna sell it again or whatever, but they're doing some sort of renovations to it. And one day these people show up and they're like, hey, we used to live here, can we check it out or something like that? And one member of the couple is like, I don't really like these vibes, and the other one is like, oh, you're just being a little paranoid, it's totally fine, we can invite them in. And then obviously things happen. So this is the book for the bandits prompt, which is to steal from someone else's TBR. I didn't steal this from anyone specifically, I just have seen a lot of people over the past couple of months talk about how they wanted to read this. So it is bending the prompt a little bit, but my game, my prompt, whatever, I can do what I want. So I will be starting on this tonight. I don't know if I'll get a lot read because I am leaving in about an hour and a half to go do stuff, and I will be out all night, but there's always tomorrow to get more reading done, so I will get started on it and give you an update once I'm a good way through to tell you my thoughts. Hello friends, happy Thursday. I am about 30% into We Used to Live Here, so I figured I'd come on and give you my first thoughts. It's interesting. I didn't realize this was going to be mixed media. I would say about 90% of it is written as a normal novel, but then there's some things added in, like a radio transcript, there's a house listing like a realtor would put up on a website, there's a couple of police reports, stuff like that, and I think that's really fun, but I would have preferred reading this physically because I feel like the formatting is a little messed up, and I was going to read this physically, but then the Philadelphia Public Library joined in on this big strike that's going on across the city, and so I could not get a physical copy. So I'm just saying, I support the strike 100%. I'm not upset that that's happening. I just wish that I could have read this book physically because the formatting does feel a little bit off in a couple of places, but nothing distracting. I have since looked at Goodreads, not in depth, but just to see if anyone I'm friends with on Goodreads has read this, and a lot of people have been comparing it to House of Leaves, which is not something I expected. I thought this would be just a straight up horror thriller. I didn't think it would have not paranormal, that's not the word I would use to describe House of Leaves, but really weird elements, but it definitely does so far. Not a ton, but we are getting into things. So I think I gave you a little bit of a synopsis on what this book is about, but I'm not positive about that, so I guess I'll tell you now. Basically, there's this couple, Eve and Charlie. They buy houses, live in them for a little bit while they're flipping it, and then sell them and then move on to the next. They normally do this over on the East Coast where all their family lives, but they found this house for super duper cheap, and it's very far away from anyone they know over in, I think they said it's in Oregon, and so that's where they are now. And Eve is home alone one night when this family shows up. It's a husband, a wife, their two sons, and their daughter. And they're like, hey, the dad is like, I used to live here and I want to show like my wife and kids my childhood home. Would that be okay? And Eve is like very mentally unwell. She's got extreme anxiety and paranoia, and she's like not having a great time with this situation, but she ultimately lets the people pleaser in her take control and says yes. And the family looks around, and then the daughter, being a very big troublemaker, according to her parents, sneaks into the basement when she's not supposed to, so the family ends up overstaying just the few minutes that they were going to be there to tour the house, and then the weather hits and it ends up extending their stay overnight. And Charlie comes home and is like, this is a weird situation, but I guess this is what we're doing now. So lots of strange things happen, but nothing that anyone is overly concerned about other than Eve. But as we've established, she's kind of an unreliable narrator, which I love. I'm also enjoying the setting quite a bit because it is an isolated setting in the winter, which is one of my favorite combinations of settings. I'm definitely not someone who cares about reading books out of season. I genuinely sometimes find it better to read books when it's not the season. So, like, this is a very wintry book, and I'm reading it in summer because it is July in the Northern Hemisphere, and I feel like it's so hot here that reading this book is kind of making me forget that. And I appreciate that because I am not a fan of the heat. I'm also not a fan of the super duper cold that we get in the winter, but that's fine. I can read summary books then and distract myself. But yeah, I don't have any strong opinions on anything yet, but I am enjoying this so far and will continue to read it. And I will come back and update you with further thoughts as I get on with it. Hello, friends, and happy Friday. I have in fact finished We Used to Live Here. It is just past 10 a.m., by the way. I meant to come back and update you before I reach the ending, but things have just been kind of crazy the past 24 hours. So I did a ton of reading before work yesterday, like a good 50% of the book I read in pretty much one sitting. And then I went to work at 4, and I was supposed to work 4 to 11, but I got a terrible migraine at around 9:30ish. So I ended up going home a little bit early, and literally I came home, took pain medicine, drank some water, and immediately went to bed. And it was a rough night. My head was killing me. I did not sleep well, and then at some point early in the morning the pain finally started to subside and I got a little bit of sleep, but I'm still not 100%. I've got like a very low level ache in my head, and I'm going to take more pain medicine before I go to work today because I do have work in about 2 hours. I'm working 10 to 7 today, but I'm also quite tired, as you can tell. And so I didn't end up updating you, but I did finish We Used to Live Here. I read the last little bit this morning, and I'm conflicted on this book. I liked it, but I don't think I loved it. There are definitely a lot of unanswered questions, which is fine. I'm okay with unanswered questions as long as we're given some more pieces, and we didn't get a lot of pieces of information in this book. I mean, we did, but it's not as much as I wanted. So this has a lot of references to other literature. The first thing I noticed was a tiny little Easter egg towards House of Leaves, which you can't see because my head is blocking it, but I do have right there, House of Leaves. I love House of Leaves. It's amazing, and you can really see that it was an inspiration for this book. This definitely takes a different turn than House of Leaves does, but it's very similar in concept. And at one point, part of the mixed media elements is like a chat room message board thing, and one of the people who comments is their username has Navidson in it, and if you've read House of Leaves, you know that in that book there's something called the Navidson record, and that's like the main bulk of that book. So there's that reference. There's a family whose last name is Faust, which I'm assuming is a reference to the literary Faust. The main character's name is Eve, which seems biblical. Religion is kind of a big theme in this book, which I didn't expect. Also, her last name is Palmer, which makes me think of Twin Peaks, because the main focus of that story is a girl named Laura Palmer. So lots of little tiny details, which I think is fun. I do love a good Easter egg in a book, but I'm not quite sure what they mean in the wider context of the story. The ending, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the ending. I'm definitely gonna need to think on this a little bit more before I decide if I really liked it or not, because I definitely enjoyed some parts, but then there were others where I was like, whatever. There were some scenes that were genuinely horrifying, like I wanted. Like there's one scene where Eve is in the attic going to get these what are they called? Tire chains, like so you can drive in the snow. And I'm not gonna spoil what happens in that scene, but it was genuinely one of the scariest scenes I've read in a long time. Like I was freaked out. So yeah, it definitely had some really good things, but I don't think it quite hit the way I wanted to. So there's that. But I am glad that I read it. Now we get to move on to our second book of the vlog, and that book I have physically. It's The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova. This massive thing. It is 676 pages. I didn't realize it was that long. Dang, okay. I do have the audiobook checked out from Libby, so I can listen as I read, and that should help it go by faster. It is like a 26-hour audiobook, I think, but I tend to listen to audiobooks somewhere between 2 and 3 times speed, so it won't take that long. But this is historical fantasy horror-ish, and I think it deals with vampires, because it definitely involves Vlad the Impaler and the main character looking into her family's past, the historian. She's looking into her family's history. So I'm looking forward to cracking into this. Ooh, so on the cover it's got like the sliver of art, and then if you turn it, it's got the whole thing. And I'm assuming that's Vlad the Impaler. But yeah, I got this at a library book sale, and it's very old, as you can tell, and someone left what I'm assuming was a bookmark in it, and they got, if I can turn to the page, 530 pages in before, I guess, giving up. So pretty far. Hopefully I get through the whole thing, and I really love it. But I'm going to start this, probably not right now, but tonight, I think, because I do have work soon, so I've got to get other stuff done. Then tonight, I was invited to some 4th of July celebrations, but I don't think I'm going to be up to it, considering my health and also the fact that I will be working a 7-hour work shift. So I'm probably just going to come home and rot all evening, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I will get going on The Historian at some point and come back to you with an update at some point. It is Sunday. I genuinely don't even remember the last time I updated you. It has been an insane couple of days, but I'm finally here with an update. Not a good one. So I've been reading The Historian very slowly. It is so dense, even with the audiobook going, but I've just finished part 1 of 3. So I'm about, I think according to the audiobook, I was like 26, 27% in. And I'm gonna DNF this. I'm not going through it. I don't remember if I told you what prompt this was for, but this was for Spark, which is a book with a theme, trope, or topic that you're passionate about, and I chose The Historian because it is dark academia, and I'm very passionate about dark academia. This definitely fits the bill, but it's not good. I'm just not having a good time with this. When I posted my TBR video, I believe it was Whitney from Tibbura's Den who was like, I loved The Historian right up until the ending, like the last, I think, 100 pages or so, and then it like was ruined, and I'm like, ooh, that's not a good sign. And so as I'm reading this, I'm like vaguely interested in what's going on. Basically, it's 2 timelines. We have our main character. I don't think we know her name, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have a name, but she is older and reflecting on these things that happened. I think it was like 30 or 40 years prior, when she was like college age, maybe? I don't know. She was like young but not a kid. Stuff to do with her father and this weird book that he has, and so we have her learning about all of this, but then we also have the father's story from years prior to that of him learning about all of this stuff, and it has to do with Dracula. And the premise is definitely much more intriguing than the execution. The execution leaves a lot to be desired. It's just so slow and plotting, and I feel like these characters are doing absolutely nothing. Barely any plot has happened. The settings are pretty cool because it is all across Europe and in these academic spaces, which I love. So that is a bonus, but if there's no character work and there's no plot, I don't want to keep going. So I did read a bunch of reviews on Goodreads, some good ones, but mostly the bad ones, just because those were more interesting. And I did spoil the ending for myself, and it's kind of just absolutely ridiculous. I won't say it here just in case you want to read this book, but yeah, I'm just gonna cut my losses here and DNF this. I'm not going to pick a new book for this prompt. I'm still going to consider this prompt fulfilled because I did give it my best shot. I got like a quarter of the way through. And for a book of this size, that is 182 pages. I am upset because this is a beautifully floppy paperback, and I do really like the cover, but it's not for me. I'm glad I only spent 50 cents on this book. Also though, my ebook copy is due back through Libby, or my audiobook copy, sorry, is due back through Libby in 2 days, and while I could get through the rest of this in 2 days, I'm kind of relieved that I don't have to because I'm DNFing this, so we're gonna put that away and not think about it anymore. The third and final book that I'll be reading in this vlog is for the prompt of, oh gosh, what prompt was it? I don't remember what the name of the prompt is, but, I think it's Longing is the name of the prompt, because the prompt itself is the book that you most want to read right now. You would think I would know my own readathon's prompts, but here we are. Like I said, it's been a wild few days, and I'm just still recovering from it. But the prompt is the book that you most want to read right now, and I will be reading Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig, the sequel to One Dark Window, which I absolutely loved. I read it at the beginning of June. Excuse me. Wow. I read it about a month ago, and now I get to finish out this duology. I'm so excited to see what happens. I do have the ebook copy through Libby, so I will get on that and come talk to you, and hopefully this is a banger of a book and it rescues this vlog. Yeah, I'm gonna start reading that probably a little bit later today and update you when I've made some progress. Hello friends, and happy Tuesday. I'm here with an update on Two Twisted Crowns. I've finished part 1, and according to Libby, I am 25% of the way through, and I've got some thoughts. I'm not immediately obsessed with this the way I was with One Dark Window. I feel like it's just a little bit jarring going into the second book in a way that I expected, but not to this extent. So I'm not going to spoil anything, but the way that book 1 ends necessitates quite a big shift in the story and how book 2 is going to start. So like, I knew it was going to be a bit weird, but it's weirder than I expected it to be. That being said, I am still really loving this. It's so well written. I think Rachel Gillig just has a writing style that gels with me very well. It's so dark and atmospheric, and I love it. The imagery, beautiful, stunning, amazing use of words. That is like my favorite part, is the writing by far. There's a bit of a weird character thing going on. So how do I say this without spoiling things? So like, y'all know this duology is fantasy romance, right? So there's the main couple that we follow in book 1, and we're still getting that, but in a weird way. But there's been this introduction to like a secondary couple, and I'm not sure how I feel about them. I don't think I like them together, but I'm pretty sure it's like a me issue because I want more of the main couple from book 1, and we're getting less of that and more of this secondary couple that I really didn't expect. Even though the secondary couple has two characters that I really, really love, and I'm excited to see what happens, it just feels a little bit off to me right now. But I'm hoping as I get further into things that will, taper off and I will fully support them. But I will have to keep reading and see. I have plans for this afternoon. We'll see if they happen. My friend and I, we're gonna go to the bookstore because I want to buy a copy of Tusk Love. It came out last week and I still don't have a copy, but the box that my local bookstore had, their delivery, they all came damaged, so I couldn't go last week, and they said they were getting another box this morning, and I like DM'd them on Instagram to have this conversation, by the way, so they might have some, but I'm not sure. I was told that I would be informed if they got a box that wasn't damaged, but also, I don't know, they probably get a bajillion DMs and trying to remember who to reply to at what time. I wouldn't be surprised if it like fell through the cracks. And so like, my friend and I were gonna go to the bookstore, and we're still gonna do that whether I get a copy of Tusk Love or not, and then weather permitting, we were gonna have a nice little picnic, but it's supposed to like thunderstorm this afternoon, so I really don't know if that's gonna happen either. Plans are just completely thrown out of whack. The loud car going by, really rude. But yeah, I don't know what's actually gonna happen this afternoon, but we will see, and I will update you with news of whatever does end up happening, and also I will update you when I finish part 2 of Two Twisted Crowns, because I am going to keep reading and see how far I can get, because I'm really, really enjoying this, and I'm so intrigued to see how it plays out. So I'll see you with an update on something at some point in the future, I guess. Y'all, I've had a crazy couple of hours, so let me recap it for you. First though, I apologize for not only the car sounds that are usual in the background of my videos, but any rain and thunder sounds you can hear, because it has in fact started storming outside, which knew was a possibility, didn't think it would happen this early, but it's fine. So it is currently 6:15, and a couple of hours ago I left to hang out with my friend. We were gonna go to our local bookstore. It is a romance-only bookstore, and I was looking for Tusk Love, which I have been in contact with them through Instagram asking when they were gonna get it, and they said it was possibly coming in this morning, but they would let me know definitely. But I was like, we had plans to do this anyway, so I'll just go in no matter what. They didn't have their copies yet, but I still wanted to buy some books, so I bought 2, and I got One Dark Window, also 2 Twisted Crowns, because why not just buy both of them? Yeah, so I guess I'm gonna be reading the rest of this book physically instead of the ebook that I've got through my library, which is good because then I can return it and the person after me in line can get it earlier. Great. So I am a little bit, ooh, this is a thick font for the headers. Like, what is that? Also, this is a very short chapter. Oh, I've read this chapter already. Where am I at? I am in part 2 already. I did read a couple of chapters after I updated you. What is in the back of this? Extras. Meet the author. Oh, there's a blurb and chapter 1 of The Night and the Moth. Also, a book by a different person. Interesting. Yeah, so I get to read the whole rest of it physically. This is only 425 pages? 430. It seems a lot thicker than that. How much is this physically? This is 392. Dang, I really thought it was more than that. Maybe it's just thick pages? Oh, that's what it was. So at the beginning of the chapters in this book, it tells you whose POV it is. At the beginning of these chapters, there's like little blurbs about the different Providence cards. This is not at all what I meant this clip to be, is me like flipping through these books, but like, I'm doing it anyway. Yeah, it's fun. I guess when I reread it in the future, which I definitely will because I love this book, I can do it physically. Maybe I can annotate it? That'd be fun, but that wouldn't be for a while. Anyway, we went to the bookstore, I got these books, and then instead of going to do our little picnic because we're like, we don't want to get caught outside in the storm, we went to a pizzeria that had outdoor seating and also indoor seating, so that way we would start outside, but if it started to rain, we could go in. Then the like speakers that are blasting music on suddenly like stopped playing music, and I guess it was hooked up to someone's phone, and they got a tornado warning on their phone in Philadelphia. Absolutely insane. I doubt a tornado would actually happen here, but the fact that we had a tornado warning is wild. So I called up my boyfriend and I'm like, hey, do you wanna come pick me up so that neither of us, me and my friend, have to walk home? And he's like, yeah, I can do that. So I got him a slice of pizza, and that's his payment for picking us up. But it's raining bad now outside, so I guess there's nothing better for me to do than get all cozy and spend the rest of the night reading. I think that's what I have to do, unfortunately, for sure. Definitely not exactly what I want to do anyway. But yeah, that's how my afternoon has gone. So I will get back to reading. I should do some writing. I want to do some writing first, and then I'm going to get back to reading, and I will update you when I finished part 2 of 2 Twisted Crowns. about 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, and I have finished part 2 of Two Twisted Crowns. I'm glad that I get to read this physically now. I lately have not been into buying books that I don't either already know that I like because I've read it before, or have like an inkling that I'm gonna like it because it's like an author I've read before or something. Like, very few books that I spend money on, especially like new books, are ones that I have not read. I guess this one I have read, but it was like still a bit of a gamble. But I'm very glad that I have this physically. It's been so nice. I like reading physically best out of different formats. But yes, I finished part 2, and things are absolutely wild. We still have like the two... Okay. I think that was a bus that just went by. Anyway, we still have the 2 different things going on. The stuff with the main couple from the first book, and then this new couple. They're like 2 different plot lines, but they're like obviously informing each other. They're just doing different things. I feel like it's much more balanced now, and I do support this new couple more than I did to start, and I think it's because we're also getting more of that initial couple. So like I said, balanced, which is a big theme in this book, is balance, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, things have gotten gruesome in many ways. There was also a moderately explicit sex scene. Like, I wouldn't call it 5 chili peppers or anything, but it was like, you knew what was going on. You were in the moment with the characters, and I don't remember that happening in book 1. And I could just be completely forgetting it, but like genuinely, I remember there being like sexual tension. I don't remember there being a sex scene in book 1. So if there is, I just completely erased it from my memory, or just forgot about it because I've read several books since then. Anyway, yeah, this part ended off on a quite a tense moment, so I am eager to get back into this, but I think I am going to put it down for a little bit. I'm going to go feed my cats, and then I think I'm going to watch K-pop Demon Hunters, because I don't have Netflix, but my boyfriend's family does, and so he's logged in on his computer, but he doesn't know the password because someone else put it in. So I can't watch Netflix unless I use his computer, and he's always on his computer. But tonight, he's going on a bike ride, so I can use his computer to watch it. Loopholes. But then after that, I'll probably get back to this. I have, I think, just over 100 pages left. So, like, I'm finishing this tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna be reading more tonight, and then I'm finishing it tomorrow. I am determined. I have work at 3 p.m. I think I've got 3 to 10 tomorrow. So I've got the whole morning and a little bit of the afternoon, and I am determined to finish this. I gotta do it. I really want to know what's up. So those are my plans. I guess I'll see you when it is over, because there is only one more part left of this book. Wow. And that's the last book for the vlog, so crazy. I guess I'll see you when it's time to wrap everything up. Hello friends, it is Thursday. It is just past 10, it's about 10:15ish, and I'm crying because I've just finished Two Twisted Crowns, and of course a really loud car is gonna drive by as soon as I start filming, because why wouldn't it? Oh my god. I fear I may never emotionally recover from this book, this duology. I know book 2 and I had a bit of a rough start, but I have, of course, gotten over that, and wow, everything about this is just so good. It's like, I don't even have words right now. I'm so emotional. So there's 50 chapters and then an epilogue, and chapters 49, was it 48 when it started? Yeah, chapter 48 was when I started like really feeling that it was the end of the book, like we were starting to wrap things up and I like got a little choked up. And then 49 and 50 I was crying. And then the epilogue is just so sweet. There was also a lot of tension. I would say the last like so there's 430 pages, and I would say from like page 390-ish to 420-ish is so tense, and I was like genuinely reacting out loud, going like, ah, what? Oh my god. Like I was so entrenched in the story, but it has come to an end, and I definitely already have ideas on what I want to um like mark up whenever I do eventually reread this and annotate it, because I feel like these are books that I'm going to want to annotate, which I don't do very often. I think I did a lot in like high school and college for classes, but since then I think I've only annotated like 2 books, which is crazy. But this duology is definitely on the list to annotate. And oh, look at that. The Night and the Moth, Rachel Gillig's most recent book. There is a preview for that, but I don't know if I'm gonna read it, because what if I fall absolutely in love with it and then I have to drop everything to read the whole book, you know? So I will definitely read The Night and the Moth, just not yet. I need some time to recover from this. Oh boy, it was so good. It was so good. Yeah, I guess that's how we're ending out this vlog. Crazy. So we had a book that I enjoyed, but I didn't love. We had a book that I ended up DNFing because it was so boring and I was not putting myself through 700 pages of that. And then we had this book that I don't even have words for, that I absolutely adored. So I think that was more good than bad throughout this vlog. I'm happy with what has happened. Yeah, we are halfway through the prompts for Vox Machina-thon. The rest will be in a separate vlog, along with reading Tusk Love, which I still have to get a copy of. I can't believe it came out like a week and a half ago and I still don't have a copy. Crazy. But you guys will see that vlog, I think 2 weeks after this one comes out. So stay tuned for that. I have some big plans for what I'm going to be reading for the rest of the prompts. So stay tuned. We have now come to the end of this video. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.